Royce Unchained, presented by Josh Arnold, investment consultants, Mr. Money Talk. So the Wolves, I don't know, they kind of zombied their way through the first half, Pat. Showed a little life in the third quarter, and then bam, 45 points, offensive explosion to blow out the Chicago Bulls, even though they were trailing by like 6 with 8 minutes to go in that game.
No Levine and no Ball playing too. You would think that it was maybe maybe that made our fellas relax even more. I didn't see the game. I was at volleyball last night, but I was following it, and all of a sudden they had 130. I couldn't believe it. It was amazing, and that the way they were scoring. And I think we've established now that. Young Joe Ingles has been replaced as the ninth man in the 9-man rotation by Minot.
Yeah, well, he's the only one because
he's the
we
only
got like
one
3 minutes
playing.
of garbage time, and he
Yeah.
was the only one that didn't even get in for garbage time last night. So
Joe has probably been told that we'll move you if we can, but he's making 3.3. They when they paid him that 3.3, they'd like to have that 3.3 right back because it would keep him out of that because what they the two something that they ate on Bates Diop got him into a $12 million tax luxury tax. If you didn't have Joe for 3.3, you wouldn't be in that luxury tax. So, but it's too late now. So that briefly in the second apron. Anyway, uh, that's that's nice to see him get rolling. What's our view of him? What do we think? What
well,
do
the
we think
biggest thing
so
from
far?
last night, I mean, there's a few different things, but Rudy Gobert, these guys are all at the end of the game. They were hunting for Rudy Gobert. Just it was DiVincenzo drive, and he's catching these passes now too. And he was, I mean, the last part of the game, in between 3-pointers made, was basically somebody would drive. There might be like a pass or two, and then somebody would zip one to Rudy, and he would throw down a dunk or get fouled, and then knock home the free throws. It was they've embraced finding
It's
Rudy more
almost
than the
because
D'Lo.
maybe it's almost because they're trying to shut up the TNT boys and everybody else that rips him as a completely one-dimensional guy, and the guy from uh, where that was ripping him from Dallas, the kid that the
Lively, yeah.
lively on the podcast, and other. I mean, he really is a lightning rod. A lot of people can't figure out how he ended up making that much money, but what
But how many guys,
he
like he
makes.
literally last night scores 21 points on 11 shot attempts, grabs a bunch of rebounds, plays great defense when you need him. But, like the Denver game of like last weekend, what, Saturday night or Friday night, whatever it was, the play that gets spread around social is him getting dunked on, halfway through the fourth
Yes,
quarter. But the last 2.5 minutes of the game, he's blocking the same dude's shot. He's grabbing huge rebounds. He's playing end-to-end defense on Jokic, to put a hand in his face on the final three. He's underappreciated, I guess, is
yes,
my.
he should. And the Timberwolves offensively should pretty much use him like Dallas uses that Gafford, right? He's the guy shoots 90% because he either dunks or lays it in.
Yeah.
And don't make Rudy make moves from 8 feet away from the basket, and you'll be fine. But yeah, he's an asset for sure. For God's sakes, the people that are bashing him, the guy I'd be worried about is McDaniels. Is a lot more than Rudy.
He
Better
was
last
great. He
night.
was great last night, for the
Yeah.
record. But yeah.
that's good. But he's maybe I think it's more important to get him because Rudy does what he does. I think it's way more important to try to get McDaniels. That kid. They say that he's in practice. I've never been there enough to know that he's kind of a cut up, and but he's like the most somber basketball player I've ever seen. He's like unhappy at all times, and it's that he's making a whole bunch of money to do nothing on offense, and it was nice that he did something last night. The thing about him though is It seems to me when he's involved in a bad play or he misses a shot or something, he goes over and pouts and stands in the corner there. He's
Yeah.
like
He did one day.
he's not a mature individual, but damn it. The other thing is he's getting this new foul call straight line to the basket stuff. They're calling fouls on him, a lot more fouls on him than they did in the past. I mean, he's had foul trouble before, but it seems like every time he tries to play his old-fashioned defense now, they slap a couple fouls on him.
So the post game Ant thing last night though that was great was because the Wolves defensively, Pat, came out again just basically lackadaisical, lollygagging. They didn't care, and then in the second half and especially the fourth quarter that they decided to go clamps, right? So
Yeah.
Ant, and God bless him, Ant gives this big post game thing about I don't care about the effing offense. It's not about the effing offense. It's about our effing defense. So everything's just riddled with f bombs, which I think is hilarious.
Yes.
But he's not wrong. Like their
Yeah.
big thing right now is the Bulls had 65 points in the first half, and the
Yes.
Bulls did what they wanted. The Wolves got their act together, but like the Wolves can play great defense still. It's basically when they're deciding to, but it's clearly driving Finch crazy, and by extension, I think Ant's sick of hearing from Finchy.
You know what that makes it though? As we've watched him now here for all these years, that makes him a typically good NBA team because when they think they're going to win a game, how many times have you watched this team before the last 2 or 3 years be close with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter or some team? They're up 8. Hey, are they really going to knock off the
Right.
Lakers tonight? And they lose
Yeah.
by 15 because the other team starts. And that, I can guarantee you, only goes back to the 1989-90 season here, where Mussy would have one of those teams on the ropes late in the third quarter, and then Magic and the boys would score 40 off Mussy's defense and win it by 8 or 10 or 12. That's kind of the NBA thing. But defense was their. Did they end up number one in the league
Yeah.
last year? Number
hmm
one in the league. What are they right now? 16 or 17? Something
They
like
were so we on our Monday State of the Wolves. They were like 17th, 16th, or 17th in net rating,
No,
something
it's
like
not. It's not because Cat's been replaced by Julius Randle. I don't think either completely. I mean,
Well,
Cat was
their rebounding has definitely been a
yes, yeah,
problem. They're
yes,
smaller. They're definitely smaller.
and it's he plays. We talked about Cat playing out there on the edge, but this guy, that Randall always plays, away from the basket, and he's certainly not the athlete that Cat is. So,
Yeah. By
that's
the way,
gonna be
have you seen their schedule in the next week? The Wolves.
It's funny.
no.
So today is Friday.
Hmm.
Between now and Wednesday, they play the Blazers 3 times.
Why?
So they play the they play the Blazers. I know they play the Blazers at home tonight at Target Center, and then they get them. Then Miami is here on Sunday, and then they play a back-to-back in Portland Tuesday and Wednesday.
I saw
Back-to-back
another.
games at Portland.
I saw another one of those involving some teams last week because I was reading a little blurb on them, and it said that they'd played the previous night in the same arena. So is that like a cost saving thing the NBA
Yes,
is
it's a
doing or
pandemic.
something?
It started in the pandemic, and I think
But
the teams love it because you take out a couple of games at the same time.
yeah, but do they? But they're not giving them a day off between these either. Then
No,
they're going back to back,
They just go back
right?
to back.
the back-to-back is usually they give you a day off if you're going to stay in the same city.
Yeah.
But then to put the third game, the home game against the Blazers all within
Yes.
like 5 days is definitely new.
It's really, you'd rather, they're not very good, but you'd rather be playing teams like that late in the season when they know how bad they are, right? They quit playing because they'll be trying. They got my man Anthony Simons. They got him playing, I think, and they got a couple of players. So instead of beating them 3 times, you might only beat them twice, right? Because you got to, play that
Yeah, I mean they're definitely
balance
not good. Like they're definitely the worst team I think in
in
the
the
West.
West.
But
Yeah.
but your point, yeah, they don't. they don't know that they're supposed to be planning off-season vacation quite yet.
Yeah,
So
that's the thing about the NBA is you gotta get those teams where they, that last 25 games of the year when nobody cares when you're, and including the coach who's trying to get the draft choices. So, yeah, it's I think that we were a little. I was a little panicked early when some of the stuff I saw, but they're and they're going to have to guard people if they want to win games, but they're probably going to. They won't get to 58 again, but they'll. It was 58 last year, right? Or 56? 56 last year.
56, yeah.
Because 58 was their record. They'll be in the low 50s again.
I know, and I know
51, 52.
you guys had a 3-point discussion this week, but just we should keep this a running update on the shows. Anthony Edwards last night took 9 more 3-pointers, which is actually below his season average.
Below
He
average.
made 5 of them, so he's 5 of 9 last night. And on the season, counting last night's games, he's shooting 46%
Yes.
on over 11 attempts per game.
I have we seen he's a bit of a BSer as we noted, but I know he talks about how much he shoots and stuff. Somewhere between fitting in the Olympics and everything, that guy had to shoot 100,000 threes this summer because he's not the same guy shooting threes.
He did tweak his mechanics a little bit.
Yeah,
And
I mean he's my friend Terry Kunze and I agreed for years he's Mr. Basketball to me. That the only thing we didn't like about Ann is when he shot, we thought he was going to miss, and that's not the case. I mean, he's shooting those. What's amazing about him is the way he comes out shooting threes. What's his first quarter on him? It's got to be incredible. Because I don't know what he did last night. I didn't see that, but there's been a couple of games that he came out and he was like 4-5 right off the bat and bombs. I mean, not not getting right up to the line, just firing them, and nobody's going to complain about shooting threes if you're making over 40%. So,
He's
it's,
obsessed, though. The thing I like about him is he's obsessed with improvement. Like
Oh, yeah.
like you can tell, he works on stuff. He's great because he's a great quote, and a lot of it's BS, but it's not nearly all BS, if that makes sense. Like
No.
he actually works on things
Oh,
and
he
takes
does.
things
He
seriously.
does.
So
There are athletes like that just add something to their game every year. And my example A, which turned out to be not example A, was always Chuck Knobloch because he added one year. Okay, the next year he added stolen bases. The next year he added, power and stuff. He was always adding something to his game until he went goofy, until he met Derek Jeter, and then things went to hell.
Yeah.
But then he couldn't throw the ball to first base because he was thinking about what was going to happen after the game. But anyway, he's.
Hey, by the way, on the subject of baseball, real quick, maybe you guys talked about this already, but last night I binged the 3-part 2004
Yes.
Boston Red Sox documentary.
I wrote a column about it Sunday, Phil, that all the reasons that my whole column was going to be what has baseball done to get into this lowly state. And I came home on Halloween night after all the kids were done, and I was going to give it a 5-minute test run, and I watched all 3 hours. It was terrific.
It's basically starring Kevin Millar, right?
Millar is the star. But the thing is, where do they get the video of the guys taking shots? Before
They clearly had a
game six?
camcorder in that
Yeah,
clubhouse.
somebody in the clubhouse, but some clubby must have had it, and this guy dug it up or something. He's the producer director is Mike Barnacle, the famous Cityside columnist who ended up getting in trouble there for something. I don't know what he was, but he was a great Cityside columnist. But the director, the producer of it is one of his 2 sons, and it's really good. I mean, when it's when I got done watching it, I said, "Okay, I forgive you, baseball."
Oh man, And then they went into detail about the Red Sox essentially acquired Alex Rodriguez before the 2004 season, which that had been
right.
reported.
I'd kind of forgotten about that, but yeah.
And Nomar got all ruffled and went on the radio and stuff. But where Theo tells the story about how him and Lucchino fly into, was it New York or Miami, wherever A-Rod was, this big condo complex.
Yeah.
And they fly in at like 2:00 in the morning. The flight was delayed, and so Theo sends a text to A-Rod and says, "Hey, we'll meet tomorrow and hammer out a contract." A-Rod goes, "No, come on over now."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh my God."
That should have given you a bad feeling right there.
And A-Rod, 2 in the morning, is in a full suit, full getup with his briefcase full of all of his information and stuff. Man.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'd forgotten, but it was that the Red Sox were going to get A-Rod, which was. But you know what was overlooked in that thing to make the Nomar drama turn it into a drama that they're going to get him? He'd only played 38 games that year. I looked it up. He'd been hurt all year. He had hardly played at all, and he was terrible when he played. His foot he had that bad foot. He couldn't move. And basically the reason they wanted to get somebody who could catch the ball and throw it to first base. That's why they went and got Orlando Cabrera, and he had a whole lot to do with them winning. Then they got Dougie over there to play the 8th and 9th innings to scoop it up. Dougie ended up with the last ball, right? Didn't he?
Did.
And he kept it for a long time.
Did he finally give it to the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I think it finally went to the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Did he? But
that trade happened at the Metrodome. He literally just walked over.
He changed the clubhouse that they were playing that. I looked up the guy we got for him, Justin Jones, I believe. I don't think he got his stuff. We were giving. Well, Morneau was, Dougie wasn't playing much by then, right? So
they slid Morneau in, and that was
good. No, Morneau. When did Morneau get here?
I thought 03 was his first year.
03 or 04.
Because he started in the ALDS in 04, didn't he? I think in Yankee Stadium.
He made his debut in 03, and then 04 he was 04 he was mashing, and they had to clear some room. So
well, it worked out for Dougie boy. So I saw he checked in on something. Oh, he was defending Rizzo for not charging that ball because of the way it was swerving around there, the backspin on it. But then, so that was Dougie was defending the first baseman defensively.
Yeah.
But
hey, before we get your official,
it is great. By the way,
before we get your official football picks for the weekend here, tell the audience about where they should be car shopping here this fall.
Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers, my guys. I've been with them for 12, 15 years now, a whole bunch of vehicles. And I'll tell you what, my vehicle with the strong front right bumper, I was at the mailbox the other day, and the lady came out of the driveway and backed right into me because she didn't know I was at the mailbox. And bounced right off and went away, and I don't even have a dent. So that's a good Buick I got from Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers. Right now, 4 different kinds of SUVs. No matter how many kids you got, you can base the number of kids you drive to hockey on what size SUV you get, and because they got the smaller ones all the way up to the big honkers. And they got the new Regal station wagon that's going like crazy. People love that thing. And, right now, low interest rates and factory rebates are back, and also full stock. Every vehicle you want's there now. It's not, we don't have the chip problem anymore. And the cars are there and ready to go. Jim Paul and Brett Paul, Valley Group of GM dealers, Apple Valley, and Hastings.
Okay, Gophers, Rutgers, Vikings versus a Trevor Lawrence-less Jaguars team.
It will be interesting. The Gophers just got to go out there and remind Rutgers how bad they are right off the. Don't let them get interested. Because they've been taking some poundings lately, and they do have a good coach. Shiano's a good coach, and they'll, if you let them hang in there, there's an outside chance you could get beat when you're.
And Kelly McManus is going to be looking for some revenge, a little revenge game.
Yeah, well, but he has one problem. He's not very talented. He's got that. He's got that issue that revenge doesn't help if you're going to throw sinker balls all the time when they're out there.
I like Coy for a pick or two, Pat. I think Parrish picks off a
Oh
ball or
yes,
two.
that's right. I think he should slow down a little bit, though. His runner-up school was Ohio State, and if they need help anywhere, it's in the secondary. It could be
Oh
that
yeah.
could be $1 million. I know the kid's extremely loyal to Minnesota. He loves it here. Good lad from Esco, but at some point the price has got to get.
If
It's
that's
got.
my son, I'm saying, you know what, Coy, we're going to Columbus.
Well, no, you got to give us our chance to get in the same ballpark, right? I know.
Okay,
He's going
sure.
to stay there, but I mean, man, is he? Everybody told you he was going to be a monster, but he's from Esco. He played at that level of football. That's 2A. No, not 2A, 3A probably. 3A. Esco was, it's hard to imagine how good he is. I mean, he's fantastic. He could be, not only is he getting, do they give just a defensive freshman and an offensive freshman, or do they get just the freshman of the year? He'll be on every freshman All-American team, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Hell, he might be the freshman defensive player of the year from the AP or something like that. I mean, it's unbelievable how good he is. So,
Vikings gonna. This is a
wow.
soft spot, but about as
Name the
soft of a
score.
schedule as you can.
Name the score. They're going to be 9-2. They're going to be 10-2, maybe 10-2. I don't think the Bears will beat. I think the Bears are. The Bears will look at the schedule. Who's going to beat them among this collection? Not the
Yeah, I mean,
Titans.
it is 3 road games, so these, you want to
Yeah,
give
that's
some credit
great
to
though.
that, but
You got 3 road games against chumps, and then you come home for a 3-game homestand, right?
yeah.
Yes.
Right. So,
Yes.
I mean, they had the clunkers. And they weren't great last week, but God, they got the potential to be 13-4 again, don't you think?
You
And
being this confident actually scares me a bit. It
well,
feels
I
like when
wasn't.
you get high on a home team, that's just the kiss of death, Pat.
Well, I wasn't high, and I was higher than everybody else when the year started. And everybody was saying, the division is loaded, blah blah blah. Well, I was never that high on Jordan Love, and I thought these guys might win 9 or 10 games. I didn't think they were going to go 13-4. I'm not saying that. I just didn't. The over and under. Why didn't Why didn't we fly someplace and
I
get a
did.
hundred? The five
I
of
did.
us. The four. How much you put on it?
I put
$100.
$100. $100 on 6.5.
How about 100,000?
Yeah,
All
that's what
the
I should have
cash
done.
in, everything we
Yeah,
got,
it would
and
work.
go on the 6.5, man. Wouldn't that be fun? Was it 6.5 when
Yeah.
you bet
Yes,
it?
six
Six
and a
and a
half.
half. Six and a
It's
half.
crazy. And
Vegas.
then that was
They,
before, and like you said, that
That
was
was before
before.
McCarthy.
yeah.
Well, no, it was. I mean, it was before anyone thought that they were going to be good. We even
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
might not be that good, but they're not like a
Not
6-win
six and a
team.
half. That's the Las Vegas doesn't just give money away like that often. It's just it really it was silly, I thought, especially after the defensive improvement. And they finally turned loose my guy Dallas Turner, which was one reason I was optimistic because he was the best player I saw in college football last year, and I couldn't believe they got him. And then they're mad at him because he got a penalty and they don't play him for a couple of games. What the hell? Turn him loose. He's so damn fast. It's unbelievable. So
Yeah.
anyway,
So
but the
should be a.
Gophers, PJ's is probably in the running for coach of the year, huh?
I mean,
In the Big Ten.
if they rattle off, if they win their next
They win the
3,
table.
Well,
including
they
Penn
could.
State,
The
Well,
Hoosiers
yeah,
guy,
but no,
right?
yeah,
you're gonna be
Indiana
seven.
I mean, there's
coach
no
guy.
way that guy can't win coach of the
Yeah,
year.
that's right. What am I thinking of? You're going to be, but 7. I saw yesterday, by the way, I was looking at the crawl last night when they were going on their college football. I was just watching Sports Center or something. They were going. They got, they do the point spread and then they do the odds that this team is going to win the game. They have like Indiana at 80. 7% against Michigan.
Yeah.
I'm still not ready to go 87% on
I
Indiana
mean,
beating
they're good.
Michigan. Until 2020, they had won 24 in a row against them, Michigan. So, they're good offensively, but they, to be the point spread has gone up. It was 13 and a half last night. It was 14 and a half.
It's crazy.
People are betting Indiana. It's incredible.
By the way, Florida State, who's now 1-8, is playing at Notre Dame, and that looked like a great game on the schedule
Yeah.
before the year, right?
Yeah.
Notre Dame is a 27-point favorite over
Oh
Florida
my
State.
God. Is Florida State going to get rid of this guy? Who do they got there? Isn't it
He's-
something to see Florida and Florida State both terrible?
It is.
Billy Napier, the Florida had to come out and announce they weren't going to fire him because if they fire him, they owe him $26 million.
Yeah.
And who's the coach at Florida State's reasonably new too, isn't he?
Yeah,
What's
and
his
he'll be
name
reasonably
again?
new somewhere else, it sounds
Yes.
like.
1-8.
I know.
1-8. Do you think they're whining about not getting to go to the 4-team playoff again this year? They would have got
Yeah.
without their quarterback.
Mike Norville.
Okay.
Mike
Yeah.
Norville.
Not gonna work here anymore.
Yeah,
So,
Norville.
all right, Pat, we do have to go here. We have a Purple
Okay.
Daily live stream. We will see you after this football weekend. All right.
I'm in good mood because my computer screen is no longer sideways; it's up and down. I wasted 45 minutes swearing at my computer and asking people to help me to get it fixed, and I finally got it fixed. All right, see you.
All right,
Guys.
Pat.
Have a
We'll
good
see you.
weekend.
There he
Phil,
is. Roy-
nice to see you back.
It is. It's great to be back. Nice to be
we
seen.
Were worried. We were worried about that golden throat of yours.
I was also a little bit worried there for a while, but we're
Okay.
back. We're back. That's
All right.
It's not going to matter. We have AI to capture previous episodes. But all right, Royce
Yeah.
Unchained presented by Josh Arnold.